So I trimmed off the pubes, but my hair is still. I need a haircut, but I was thinking of getting a haircut before my trip to Japan. That way, I look good in my photos. Um, so, what are we going to talk about today? I actually have a list. I just want to talk about this feels like a weird job interview, but just hear me out. Now that I found this method where I can actually pause the video and continue it, that's actually really, really dope because it really helps me in particular with not thinking all the time. Is that what I'm trying to say? That's not what I'm trying to say. Who cares? The point of this video is that I've had a lot of jobs, and I've spoken about this before, that really my dream job is to become an author. I'm actually writing a book now, and y'all know. So, I don't know what's going on. I had a drink, so I don't know, maybe. I thought it was good to go, but I guess not. Anyway, is it recording? It is. So I wrote down all of the jobs that I have, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to rank them on a scale of 1 through 10, just how much I like them. Now, personally, here's what I personally like in a job. I like working with coworkers. I've liked jobs where my bosses push me to be better, but they never like nitpick. When they start nitpicking and they don't actually, look at anything good that I've done, that's when I'm like, fuck you. So, I like to work. I do. But my first couple of jobs really taught me work-life balance. I devoted myself to my first couple of jobs. So, yeah, I learned the lesson the hard way. And, so let's do this. The first one is a security job. That was my first ever, technically, a job. It was as a security person. It was like an usher, kind of, like in like the university's like sporting events or like theaters or stuff like that. I was one of the usher people. The thing is, that job sucked because you have to call in like every Tuesday. I think they had it. I don't remember. This was a long time ago. This was over 10 years ago. I've had 11 jobs, by the way. I'm currently on my number 11, and that's not even including 2 side jobs that I have. Actually, I need to write those down. So, you would have to call every Tuesday and be like, hey, are there any positions? And if they were like, no, then you were screwed and you would have to go another week without a job. Or, you would call them and they wouldn't answer you, which is another way of saying no. Fuck you. So, I only worked twice, I think. From what I remember, one of them was a sporting event. It was football. You know anything about me? I don't like sports, particularly American football. I just find it so dreadfully boring. I know I'm the single, I know there's a lot of people that find it boring, but I also know it's obviously successful for a reason. So I'm not here to knock on it or anything. I personally just find it boring. I've tried to learn how it works. I don't know how it works. I've tried just so that I can get into it. I just can't. It's too long. It's just very repetitive. It's very boring. Most sports are, I find. So, I don't know anything about sports. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I remember the one time that I worked was at a football game, and this couple came to me and they were like, oh, where's the end zone? And I was like, oh, yeah, you just go over there and then you find another employee that knows, because I have no clue where this end zone thing is. Later on, I found out it was literally the end of the football field, which, by the way, that's where I was. I was at one of the ends of the football field. So I could have just been like, on the other side, brother. Go over there. So, yeah, it was it was just one job. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's the only job that I have any kind of memory from. I remember being so tired from it because I was standing for many, many hours. Just there. The instructions were never any clear. They were like, oh yeah, just go there and we'll get you hooked up with your little microphone or whatever. And it's like, well, thanks, but where exactly is there? Because I showed up where I got my orientation. Nobody was there, so where was I supposed to go? It was a whole nightmare. I couldn't find parking. I had just started driving, and so just imagine a fucking stupid ass fat guy trying to find parking, not finding any, finally finding the parking and realizing it's in the other end of the whole university campus. So it was awful. I hated it. I had to pass by so many drunk people. I was super late. Whatever. They didn't care, honestly. They didn't give a shit. The second job is probably my most treasured one. I didn't make any friends or any kind of anything on the security job, by the way. So that one I'm gonna I'll give it like a 1 out of 10, just because it's not very reliable. The pay sucked, the hours sucked, and honestly, not worth it. Weather updates? No. Why would I want weather updates on my camera? Stupid. So anyway, the next one down, I got a couple years later. I started working at Church's in 2014. Yes, Church's Chicken, the fried chicken place. That one, I have so many memories of. It was probably one of the better jobs that I've had. I don't know if it was the job itself or if it was the people. The people really turned into my second family. I really came out of my shell at that job. I was very shy growing up. So that job kind of just like, they were like, you need to grow up and start talking to people, or you need to like find a different job. And obviously finding a different job was not an option back then. I've had 11 jobs. So yeah, apparently it is an option that I took full advantage of. I was there from 2014 until 2017. 2017, yeah. So I quit in 2017. While I was working at Church's, though, I had 2 jobs. The first one was at a place called Full Beauty Brand. And yes, I will go back to rating Church's. The first one was Full Beauty Brand, which was a call center. We would take in orders, and then we would try to upsell them. Be like, oh, you know what would go great with those pants? This shirt on page 56. Nobody wanted to buy it because I already had their list of things they wanted to buy. So they were like, no, I'm good. I just want to buy what I ordered, please and thank you. So it was an awful job. It was very stressful, high demanding. The pay was okay, but honestly, I didn't like it. So Full Beauty Brand is basically just extra large clothes. The largest piece of clothing that I had on an order was a 9XL shirt for a gentleman. I remember losing a lot of weight after that job. So that job I did work in 2015, I want to say. That job, I'll give a 1 out of 10. Honestly, I didn't like it. I don't like call center jobs. Irony, because I'm working at a call center job now. But I will get to this one now, because this one is different. Going back to Church's, I stopped working at Full Beauty, went back full-time to Church's, and then while I was still at Church's, I got another second job. This one was at a gas station at a Circle K. I would work the graveyard shifts. So it was very difficult. Honestly, not bad. Honestly, apart from a couple of drunk people and nothing really crazy ever happened. I would say it was a very mediocre job. I knew one guy there, and that's about it. Everybody there obviously did not like me. I don't know why. But, I guess I just have that fucking face. And then, so, going back to Church's, it's very hard to look at it as just a job. Just because I did spend so many years there. And then you're like, you were there for 3 years. And I eventually worked up to assistant manager. And honestly, I made so many friends that I still speak to this day. It was just a great job. Honestly, any fast food place, and yes, I did work several fast food places. We're getting to those. any fast food place that I've worked at has honestly been such a fucking joy to work in that I guess I just really like working in like that fast, low paced like environment. I really liked it. So you know what, churches, I'll give it a 7 out of 10, just because the people. If it wasn't for the people, I don't know if I would give it anything higher or anything, that close. It's closer to an 8. Let's do an 8, just because I feel like this is gonna come back to me. And then we have Alorica. Alorica was another call center. That one was for DirecTV, so we would call people and we'd be like, hey, do you want free showtime for 3 months? So many people were so rude. All you had to do was say no. What pissed me off about this particular company was you have to ask them, you have to get like 3 no's. I don't think that company exists anymore, just because of how aggressive they were. Like the customer was like, no, I'm not really interested in that. You had to do it again. You had to get 3 no's from these people before you could be like, okay, have a great day. I was like, that's fucking annoying. Like, no ma'am, I'm not gonna be bothering these people. Like, it's already a bother having to pick up and it's like, hello? Oh, it's from DirecTV. You want 3 free months of showtime? The thing is, and they were like sneaky about it too, after the 3 months of showtime and all that nonsense, they were automatically enrolled to stay on that extra payment program thing. So after the 3 months, if they forgot to cancel the free trial, oh well, they're now paying for this extra stuff they didn't even ask for in the beginning. So very shady. I didn't like it. That one's definitely a 0 out of 10. I also had to go to the emergency room several times because of panic attacks. I had a lot of stomach problems, which, now saying that out loud, I'm coming back to it actually with this most recent job that I have. I quit Alorica and then I went job hunting. I was like, I don't want to go back to churches. No. So churches, I actually quit because I found another job at a place called Schlotsky's. I actually worked at Schlotsky's for about less than a year, I want to say. Super fun job. Honestly, the sandwiches were super good. The people there were phenomenal. I literally no complaints. Probably the biggest complaint was the owner. And if he's watching this, I'm sorry, but you didn't wear deodorant. And when you would try to help us, we would have the plates up here. And so homie was just like reaching out while I'm here. The wind coming from his hair or from his armpit was like blowing my hair. It was pretty bad, to say the least. Also, the manager, he was kind of racist, which, whatever. The place might have been haunted as well, which is actually a plus. That one's not really a negative, but I liked it. It was fun. Awesome people, awesome vibes, pretty easy going work. At that point in my life, though, I was in 2017. I was super depressed. So I didn't give it my all at that job. I didn't get fired, luckily, but I did end up finding another job. For Schlotsky's, I'll give that one. What should I give that one? I'll give that one a 7 out of 10. That one's more of a 7. And then Jack in the Box, that's my next job afterwards. Jack in the Box, I did work for a few months. I went back to churches. If you're keeping up with the timeline, you're like, huh? Don't even bother. It's not worth it. I've lost track of it, and I've worked these fucking jobs. So I worked at Jack in the Box, and then I called my previous manager at churches, and I was like, hey, can I just go back? I'll work both jobs. She was like, yeah, we'll work with your schedule. And then my manager at Jack in the Box was like, yeah, we'll work with your schedule. Neither one of them worked with the goddamn schedule. It sucked. It was awful. There were times where I was leaving one job, coming home, showering, and then getting ready for another job. There were times where I would work 3 shifts, back to back to back. It was awful. It was just awful. And I have worked 2 jobs before, but it was just draining. That probably burned me out more than anything. Because I would also work graveyard. If you didn't know, Jack in the Box is open 24/7. I would work graveyard. And then I would get out at 6 in the morning, sometimes 7, depending on how behind I was with cleaning and stuff. And then I would go to I would come home, shower, try to rest a little bit, and then go to churches at 8 in the morning. From 8 in the morning until 4 p.m., sometimes I'll get out at 5, I would come home, shower, maybe sleep a couple hours, and then go back to Jack in the Box at 10 p.m. It was awful. It was really, really bad. I was burnt out. Other than that, job was really great. Honestly, the people working there were pretty great. There was one guy who I thought was really cute. He was actually very, troubled, which, I hope he's doing better now. There were some other people there that I really liked. I really liked a lot of people there. I don't keep up with any of them anymore, but good on them. You know what? I'll give them the same rate as Schlotsky's just because I did reach out to some people from Schlotsky's, but they kind of ignore me now, so that's fine. It's been years, so that's understandable. So we're going to do 7 out of 10 for Jack in the Box. Walmart! So I ended up leaving both jobs because I was like, both of you fucking suck. Neither of you is giving me a raise, or neither of you is like really working with the other. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. So I went over to Walmart because I was like, Walmart's going to be paying me like 10 something an hour, where, over here I'm making $8 an hour at each job. And Walmart was like, yeah, we'll pay you like $10 an hour. And I was like, dopamine. I didn't like the Walmart. There's a reason. There's a saying that you don't shit where you eat. Walmart was definitely somewhere where I decided to shit where I ate, and I learned my lesson. I fucking hated it. It's not that I hated it. It was such a weird job. It always felt like I had too much to do and at the same time not enough. And the training was atrocious. The other people in my team, they kind of treated me like I was just going to be there for like not that long. Which, yeah, I wasn't there for too long, but it's like, thinking back on it, I'm like, they would have me do stuff that nobody else would do, or like they would have me like do something a lot faster, and I'm like, this is my second week, brother. What do you want me to do? Like, I cannot go faster. I need help. And yeah, that was one job where I would ask for help. And I remember everybody was so afraid. So Walmart has this thing where they have more managers than they do employees. You see a million managers, everybody walking around with the shit in their ear. Nobody's doing a goddamn thing. And the manager that I had in my department, he sucked. He just disappeared. He would come our last hour of work, like he would just appear out of nowhere, and he'd be like, all right, guys, what else do we have to do? What's missing and this and that? I was like, where the fuck were you the whole shift? I did not see you. I did not have a print. Also, Walmart, for a place that sells as much as you fucking do, you can't afford a printer for all of your employees. We have to share, and you better hope it's charged, because they have like these little printers that you have to print out the label and then stick them on boxes or stick them on shit. They did not have enough printers, and that shit was so annoying, because literally all that I needed to do at some jobs that I was doing or projects or whatever, I just needed a printer, and nobody was either willing to part with theirs even for like 10 minutes. I was literally done. I just needed to print my shit out, but nobody was willing to lend me theirs. The people working graveyard were absolutely awful. They were so rude. They would hug all of the equipment. I would go in at 4 in the morning, and then I would leave at 2, 1, I can't remember. Graveyard people, this was pre-COVID. Graveyard people are so rude. So rude. And I'm like, I get it that you were here all night, but that's not my fault. I didn't do anything to you. Why? First of all, wipe that look off your face. Second of all, like, you have 2 of these fucking things. You can use one for the other one. So it's the little forklift thing. Yeah, if you showed up there and they were all being used, oh well. And yeah, my team, it just never felt like they were pretty much just pushing me out the door. It always felt like, I try to get along with them, at least, on my end, that's what it feels like. Maybe on their end, I was being like off-putting or whatever. But honestly, I always try to get along. I'm like, listen, we're going to be coworkers. We're going to be spending a lot of time together. Let's at least get along. Jesus, I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to argue or anything. Let's get along. Let's do this. Let's get the job done, and, let's have fun while we're doing it. it always felt like they were just kind of pushing me off to the side, like, oh yeah, just to work on this. Oh yeah, just work on that. Like they were nice, but it never felt like they included me in anything. And it always felt they always treated me like, oh, he's gonna quit in a year, maybe. And yeah, I did. I did. And you know what, Victoria, I wanna say I'm sorry. I did tell you that I was gonna give my 2 weeks notice. I didn't. I'm looking at you right now. And I didn't. I didn't. I quit. I could not go back there. It was an awful, awful job. Honestly, Walmart was pretty terrible. And there was a lot of employees there that are like, yeah, I've been working here for 20 years. And, you know, I'm making like $38 an hour. And I'm like, well, good for you. Because apparently they give you like a raise for every year you're there. But I'm like, I mean, that's dope. And like, I'm happy for you. But like, I mean, you know, if they paid me more, I would have obviously tried harder and stuff. But you know, I was like, whatever. Honestly, once I started doing the actual work itself, I was like, this is it. It just never felt fulfilling. It never felt like you could stand out. I remember the first couple of weeks I did try really hard. And just zero. And I'm not saying praise me. Where's my medal of participation? No, no, no. I'm just saying an occasional, hey, good job. You did that pretty quickly. No, none of that. I was like, why? So you're telling me that I can either slack off or do really, really, or work really, really hard, and I'm still going to get the same recognition. Bet. I'm not going to do shit. And there were times where I would go to like, yeah, and I will admit this, there were times where I would go to like maybe the other side of Walmart, away from my department, and I would just chill. I wouldn't do anything. And they wouldn't even notice. They wouldn't even notice that I was gone. And then when I would come back, they would be like, oh, hey, are you done with whatever you were doing? And I was like, yeah, I've been done for a while. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And then just move along. And I was like, give me something to do. Like, what is going on? So, yeah, Walmart is definitely one of the... Is it as bad as Alorica? It was not as bad as Alorica. Alorica was just an awful place. Walmart, maybe if I had stuck around a little bit better, but at that point I was going through some stuff and I really did not have the patience. Again, I was burnt out from working Jack in the Box and churches at the same time, so I was really like, and you know, at that point churches had taken advantage of me because I would put in so many hours for free, by the way, and never got the recognition. After I became an assistant manager, there was a position open for manager. They didn't even consider me for it. They liked me as an assistant manager. So I was like, okay, so do a good enough job where they move you up, but not too good of a job where they're afraid that by moving you up, that position is now suffering. Okay, so that's kind of where that mentality came from. Walmart's getting a 3. Walmart's getting a 3 out of 10. How about that? And then after Walmart, I did work at a car dealership. I was actually a car salesman. By the way, not a salesman at all. If somebody's like, "Oh, go sell him that," I'm like, he is the one that came here. He should be coming to me, asking me like, "Oh, I'm interested in that car." Like, I'm not a big fan of that aggressive like, "Oh, go sell him this. Oh, go sell." It's like, no, he's like, if I'm gonna go buy a car, I want to look at cars by myself, and then I'll go look for an employee. I'll go look for a customer. I'll go look for a salesman. Totally fine. I don't know what. And then they're like, "Oh, you got to keep pushing." I'm like, they already said no. So I don't know what you want from me, because I'm not going to keep pushing this on somebody that clearly doesn't want it. These are very expensive cars. No, I'm not going to do it. So one person, I remember I got very annoyed because I was a salesman for like 2 months. And then another salesman actually complained to management. He was like, well, because my brother and my dad also work there. They still work there. But one of the salesmen complained. And he was like, well, his dad is one of the managers. How do we know that he's not getting special treatment and this and that? And I was like, wait a minute. They hired me after giving the promotion to my dad. My brother is still working there. And I was like, so what's the problem? I haven't sold any fucking cars, so I don't know what kind of help my dad's giving me. My dad was not giving me preferential treatment or anything. I was just kind of there, like, So that was very annoying. And what was probably more annoying was that the car dealership was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Obviously, this idiot hasn't sold a single fucking car, so he must be cheating the system. Obviously, right? So they were like, you have two choices. We can either send you to another car dealership as a salesman, or we can send you to our shipping and receiving here in our parts department. So I was like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'll just work here. And honestly, like, I didn't put any kind of effort into that job, which is, yeah, it kind of sucks that by that point I had already been drained of all work ethic. but but I met some really dope people there. Honestly, this was one of the places where the people were honestly great. So the guys working at the parts department, they were great. One of them is still there. He was really dope. He can't fold his fingers. And then the other guy, I think he's in the army now. And then the other guy, he went to another much nicer dealership. He was funny, but he also knew how to piss you off. He was very tall and lanky. uh, he could be an asshole sometimes, but you know what? I honestly vibed with the guy. I thought he was great. Um, but yeah, that's when COVID hit, and I eventually got furloughed. My boss too. He was very intimidating. To this day, I'm very intimidated by that man. I don't know why, but he's very chill. He's very nice. When Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, I was the one driving the truck for the car dealership, so I was like, hey, I pre-ordered it. It's over here at Target. Let me go pick it up real quick. I'll be back in less than 10 minutes. The game is ready for me to pick up. Because I had never played an Animal Crossing game and I found my opportunity. I was like, I'll play this one because it's about to come out and this and that. And he let me go pick it up real quick and I was like, dope, thanks. So he was actually really, really dope. I really liked working with him. Um, and yeah, honestly, no complaints in terms. There was a lot of like office politics, but I was never involved in any of that. At least nothing serious where, oh, I was like a player. No, not at all. I was the delivery guy. That's it. That was my beginning and middle and end. And you know what? I liked it. There were times where they had me go to the other side of town to either drop off a part or pick up a part. There were times where I was just driving all day, and you know what? That was awesome. I loved it because I was just listening to music all day. There were times where I would drive to another city, um, and it was very far away, and it was fun. It was fun. I liked it. Not one of my favorite jobs. The job itself was very confusing and weird and stupid, and I feel like the process could have been better. But don't look at me because I have a lazy eye, and if you tell me anything about cars or like parts or like the way it should work, one of my eyes goes like that. So for the car dealership, just because of the people, I'll put it up there. I'll give it like a 7. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. Again, that's mostly the people and the amount of free time that I had. Holy shit. And then, of course, came the pandemic. Everybody was freaking out. I should have started this damn YouTube channel then because I had so much free time. The thing is, I didn't know if I was going to make it. So I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the little time that I have by playing Animal Crossing. I played Animal Crossing so much. I also got into Splatoon 2 with my friends. We were all playing Splatoon. It was so much fun. We would play so late into the night. My other friend and we would be playing Animal Crossing. So many good memories. I wish I could go back to it, knowing what I know now, and be smarter about the way that I used my time during the pandemic. I really wish I was smarter about it, but oh well. It's what's done is done. There were so many opportunities for me to start my YouTube channel, and honestly, I'm just gonna take this one because who knows what's gonna happen in a year. I think my grandma's awake, but I'm not sure. We'll talk about paranormal stuff later. I don't think it's anything. I'm pretty sure it's just my grandma. She's awake, but I keep hearing noises and sounds over there. So after the after the pandemic, I was pretty much unemployed for about a year, and I got my real estate license. So I'm very happy with that. I still have it to this day. That's one of the side gigs that I have. I also started Ubering. So technically I was not unemployed while during the pandemic. I was driving for Uber quite a bit. I was not picking anybody up. To this day, I refuse to let people in my car. It's just Uber Eats. And it's not because, oh, my car is so clean that I need to keep... No. It's filthy. It's disgusting. And I just don't want anybody in there. Also, my car's a little small. So, it's a little cramped. I realized that Uber was not paying me well enough, and real estate was, you have to be very lucky on top of very experienced. You have to know the right people. So that one I'm still working on. I don't know if I'm gonna renew my license again, just because, it's very expensive. It's very expensive to be a realtor, and at this point, I'm still in the red. I paid over $1,000 for all the classes. I paid so much just to send in the application. It's so much money invested, and if you don't get any money back, it's a huge loss. A huge loss. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Uber still, I can still get pretty good tips from Uber. I do still Uber on my weekends off, but anyway, the next job was Raising Cane's. I worked at Raising Cane's. I told myself I'm only going to be here for a year, and then I'm going to start my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to invest more time into my real estate license, and I'm going to do this and that, and I ended up staying there for almost 3 years. Was it 3 years? No. I stayed there for 2 years. I started working there in 2021. It's 2020. I stopped working there in 2023. 2 years. I think almost exactly 2 years. Raising Cane's. What can I say about this place? Honestly, at first I was not stoked. It's very busy. Probably, you know how I said I liked fast environments and like fast pace and stuff like that? I didn't know what that meant until I worked at this fucking place, okay? My goodness. First of all, I was one of the older people there. I was no longer one of the young ones. I was no longer one of them. I was now one of the older people there. So I obviously, I have to keep my distance from all the employees. But I gotta say, a lot of people complain about Gen Z and like, oh, they're so whiny. Oh, they're not hardworking. Some of them are not, but that's the same with every generation. Holy shit, some of these kids can work. Like, they work hard and they work extra hours. I would always give them the advice. I'm like, listen, work as much as you think you can. Do not do more. Do not stretch yourself. Do not do anything, because you're going to burn yourself out and then you're going to end up like me. I'm a cautionary tale now. This is where we're at in my life, by the way. Honestly, great. Got along with everybody there. The work was a little, I feel like the process could have been better, but honestly, it was great. Who's calling me at this hour? It's a phone number from Austin, Texas. Go away. So, because we're going to talk about Austin, Texas in a bit. So, Raising Cane's, honestly, probably one of the better jobs I've ever had. And it was only because of the people. The people made it so worth it. I would find myself getting so angry sometimes because, sometimes they would piss me off because I'm like working and they're over there talking. But at the same time, I would do the same thing. So I couldn't even be mad at them about it because, I would go and talk as well. And, yeah, honestly, I thought it was a pretty fair job. It was not that bad. There were some employees that I felt were unjustly mistreated by management. There were some managers that I thought were mistreated by management. I'm not going to get into it, but other than that, it was a great job. I thought it was really, really good. That one also, weirdly enough, had its office politics, but it was much more, much more like direct. That's one thing that I really, really like about Gen Z too, is that they're going to tell you to your face. And I like that. I like that a lot. So Raising Cane's, that's going to get... Okay. I thought whatever. There's a ringing in my ear. I'm so old. So Raising Cane's, that's going to get... What's that going to get? That's going to get like a I'm gonna put it up there with churches. That's gonna be an 8 out of 10, honestly. And the only reason none of these are getting like a 10 out of 10 is because no job will ever be a 10 out of 10. Like, we're being realistic here. And then we come to the most recent job, the one that I'm currently working at right now. It's the gas company. What can I say about the gas company? This particular gas company covers both Oklahoma and Texas. So I have to answer phone calls from angry customers in 2 states. And wow. So let's talk about the job itself, and then I'll talk about the customers, because I have a whole video planned just for natural gas customers. Holy hell. Are y'all super... We're not talking about that right now. So, One Gas. That's the name of the company. Honestly, really good company. Really, really good company. So far, no complaints. I've been working at this job for, less than a year. So, obviously, my mind might change. I might revisit this video in a later date and be like, you know what? We ended things on a good note, or, it might have been one of those things where, kind of like Walmart, it like started off on a high, but then it started like souring. But as of right now, honestly, good company. Wow, really good company. Great benefits, great pay. This is probably the first and only job I've ever had that the pros outweigh the cons. What are the cons? The customers. That's literally the only con. The customers, well, another con that I have is it feels very micromanaging, because, at all my other jobs, I could, if I started feeling overwhelmed or overworked or anything, I could go take a quick 5-minute breather and then come back. Nobody would even notice that I was gone. That's what was great about those other jobs, is that I could get, I could go be like, I need a breather, I just need to relax, whatever, go back to work. With this job, you can't do that. They give you your breaks, but they're not long enough. If you ever get a job and they say, "Oh, do you want an hour lunch or a half an hour lunch?" Do not take the half an hour lunch. Not worth it. 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 I will say it to the ends of my whatever. Because I used to have an hour lunch, but then I was like, "Oh, you know what? I want to get out earlier, so let's do half an hour." No, do not get a half an hour lunch. Other than that, honestly, like, what I've been saying is it's true. Like, I love this job. This has been a great job. Supervisors have been phenomenal. I feel like sometimes they do go back, not the manager, like not management, but just when we first started this job, they would give us a lot of like, oh, you can ask questions. Ask questions. I keep asking questions, and then you ask questions, and they're like, well, why didn't you check your resources? And it's like, because you told me to ask questions. And they're like, yeah, but that's why you have your resources. And I'm like, then don't tell me to ask questions. So, honestly, really good job. Again, my biggest gripe is the customers. They can be truly awful people. Wowza. And you know what? I've been working in customer service. Again, these are 11 jobs, all of them consisting of some kind of customer servicing. And this, you know what? I thought I had dealt with rude customers before in my life. Holy hell, what the hell is in the Oklahoma water system? Why are y'all so mean? Like, literally, the meanest places are Oklahoma and Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas. Wow, you guys are so rude. Like, for no reason, also. No reason whatsoever. And I'm just like, those are probably the 2 worst. If I see it's from Austin or an Oklahoma call. Honestly, though, Oklahoma, now that I've kind of gotten used to them a little bit more, they're not as mean or as rude as I had given them credit for. It's really just the way of speaking. It's very aggressive, I'm finding out. So I'm like, they're not being rude. They're just aggressive sometimes. But, like, chill. Relax. Like, I know the tornado's coming, but chill. It's not coming right now. You need to relax. But yeah, no. People in Oklahoma, rude. People in Austin, Texas, rude. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say so far. Oh, I still have to give this a rating. So the rating for this one, and you know what? I've met some really dope people at this job. So even though it is a call center job, it is a work from home. Um, I do get a couple hours, like I do today, um, off, and so you know what? I'll give it an 8 out of 10, just for the company. The not the employees. The employees are dope. The customers are what makes this job unbearable. But whatever, it is what it is. You know, kind of put up with it. But anyway, that's kind of me just rating all of my jobs, even my current job. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for that. I wonder if I should have said names. Yeah, whatever. This is the fucking video is not going to get any views anyway. And if I get in trouble, then I'll just delete it. But honestly, I agree with the ratings. Like I said, I'll go back and fix anything that I might need to fix. But I'm good. I'm good. This video has been too damn long. I think that's it. Has that been every single job that I've had? I think it has. I worked at Lucky Brand for like 2 days because they were about to open their stores. So they hired a bunch of people just for 2 days to go and stock. I'm sure, why not? I didn't really do anything there. But yeah, anyway, been great to see you guys today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It is still pretty early on in the day. If it's night, go to bed. What are you doing? Anyway, have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your month. The rest of the year looks to be great as well. In terms of mental health. Mental health. Oh, Lord. Yeah, no, we're getting there. Okay, well, I'm tired, I guess, apparently. I've been yelling for like 40 minutes. Yeah, we have to go. Anyway, have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.